My name is Tyler and welcome to my channel and first YouTube video. So a little bit about me, with this being my first video. I recently upgraded to Cat 1 and I race locally here in Maryland, just outside the DC area. And I started this channel to share some of the local races, maybe a couple of the local group rides. I think partly to help myself improve through putting together these recaps, but maybe also to pass along some lessons, tactics, course tips for other riders. And I think it's going to be a good way to keep friends and family back home on the West Coast, and also my wife here, kind of in the loop on how I'm racing, what's happening, because I tell them about it after, but I think no better way than to get an Insta360 camera and show them actually firsthand what's happening. So a little bit about today's race. This is the Greenbelt training series, and this is race 4 out of what should have been 8, but the rain had other plans on about half of those. So a lot have been rained out, and then we just have one more to go, the final race, the 9th race, which should happen in a couple of weeks here. A little bit about the course. You can see here it's kind of a smushed triangle looking thing. And we're currently going through the one corner that is not pedal through. So in the apex there, you can't exactly pedal, but the rest of it, it's fast, it's flowy, you can pedal through everything. And I think today may have even been my fastest 50K outside of descents ever. So it was a fast and hot race today. There's kind of a downhill section that we saw on the start there, and then we're coming up into the uphill drag finish that ends up being around a minute, a little over a minute or so. Talking about the riders, the field today. So I think there's about 30 that ended up actually towing the line today. This will bring out usually 30 to 50, so kind of on the smaller side today, but there's a couple of teams that have a bit of representation. So we have Total right here in front of me in the white kit with orange arm sleeves, and then Meta, who I'm passing now on the right, in the purple, and then finally District Taco, who are in the yellow kit. We'll see later. They all brought around, I think, 4 to 5 people. So those are who I'm looking out for team wise. And then speaking of teams, my team, so I'm on Redshift Racing. I think we had 2 signups and then maybe only 1 rider who started the race today with myself. And that was Jack, but he had won the B race right before this, and I think had like 30 seconds to turn around and get in this race. So I think he spent some time in the back and celebrated his win, but mostly riding by myself today. So I tried to cut down the video as short as possible. It's about a 45-minute race, and I'll see how short I can get this to keep things kind of fun and fast and see the biggest moments of the race, and I hope you enjoy, and I'd love any feedback with this being my first video. Okay, let's dive in. Jumping in here a few laps later, so there's a couple of riders off the front. I think a Meta guy, an NCVC, and maybe one other, but I know Total missed it, so we have Taylor here on the left keeping things fast, bringing it back. So I'm just kind of sitting in, and then I see the other Total rider here, one of the others, coming up here on my right. And I kind of start to see, he looks maybe a little antsy, maybe he's going to try to jump across. I'm looking at him, and sure enough, he does try to jump across in a second or two here. And I snap onto that wheel, because I'm definitely going to take a free ride down the downhill. I look back quickly, don't see anyone following, so I'm a little committed to this move. But like I said, on the downhill, I'm not going to have to expend too much energy. On the left here, a fun little feature of the course, there's a police caravan that goes around and escorts cars, since the course only has the right lane. So kind of have to look out for that every once in a while, but fortunately today, not a factor. And then looking back here, through the corner, I snuck a peek back, saw the field there. So I'm not super committed to this move anymore, but I don't want things to slow down and have anyone slingshot by, and sure enough, there goes Taylor, slingshotting by, and a Meta guy who was up in the break gets on his wheel. However, District Taco here on the front in the yellow, they don't jump onto the wheel there, and I kind of decide, well, they've got their sprinter back in the pack. Let's let him do the work, Turns out he didn't actually show up to the race, so that might not have been the smartest position, but it works out okay. So we've jumped forward a couple laps here. Total and Meta, who are represented up there, have kind of blocked up the front, although they haven't kept it too slow, so I'm not too worried about it. And then here on the left, you can see David from District Taco, who didn't make it up there. He starts talking to me saying, hey, let's go. Let's make a move. Let's get up there. And he starts motioning like, let's go around the right. I kind of look and say, okay, here's my spot opening up, going into the one turn. I go, and he doesn't. But I'm committed now. I haven't looked back yet and seen he didn't go. And I think I look back. Yeah, I look back, see Meta on my wheel here. Look back again, Meta's still there. Look back again, Meta's still there. But I do want to keep things fast. I'm committed to the front. I know this is hurting some people a bit. I also know here, being on the front and keeping things fast, there are some other strong singles back in the field who will eventually make their way up here and bridge us back up to Taylor and to the one Meta guy. And sure enough, they do eventually come around here. And also Meta comes around, which I think they also were thinking Taylor might end up dropping their guy. So they come around and keep things fast. Moving forward here about 3 laps. So Meta has spent a good amount of time on the front. I've taken a couple of poles. A couple of the other singles have taken some poles, and we have just brought back the break into view here. So the next downhill here, I continue on the front, keep things fast, but kind of just low zone 2 effort, keep them in sight, and then a couple other people come around, and we eventually catch the break here with about half the race to go. And for the next 15 minutes, nothing really happens. Most of it is kept together, although a few people got off the front, and Total has missed it this time. So jumping into just a lap and a half to go, Total has done a bunch of work on the front, which turns out they actually had less people in the race than I thought. And I got a little chirp back from one of them when I said, hey, you guys brought 5. You guys got to bring it back. But coming in here with a lap and a half to go, we see the break up there. People start to look around a bit, but we are definitely going to bring them back, and it's time to start thinking about positioning for the sprint. Speaking of the sprint, I'm definitely up farther than I want to be here, although I know Total will keep it fast because they do have 2 guys at least back in the field who could be sprinting for the win. But I am a little bit in panic mode because I don't want to be second wheel with a complete lap to go plus the uphill here. But I do know that probably some of these single riders, guys like Chaz Turman from Team Skyline, will eventually want to be coming around here, maybe sending a late flyer, maybe just keeping it fast and safe for the group. And sure enough, Chaz was on my wheel, and here comes Chaz to keep things fast and make sure we bring that big break back. I look back and I want to let a couple people in because, like I said, I don't want to be up too far, and I end up slotting in here about 6th wheel, which is pretty much exactly where I'd want to be, maybe a couple spots further up than I'd want to be with how long an uphill drag this sprint can be, but for the moment I'm much happier than I was 20 seconds ago. So coming in with 1 lap to go and just a little bit here, you can see on the left we're catching the final break rider. That's Gavin. I think he'd spent some time solo off the front, but I wouldn't mind letting Gavin kind of slip in front of me here because I wouldn't be surprised if he sends another late flyer. He's been known to do that, and he actually the week before almost got away with some indecision in the break when he sent a flyer on the downhill coming up here. So definitely watching Gavin here, but we do have control on the front now, and I'm happy that things are going to stay fast enough for me to stay in a good position here and stay in contention for the sprint. However, moving forward here, I definitely maybe thought during the race and spoke here now a little too soon. You can see Meta kind of sends maybe a reverse flyer off the front here, and I don't have the sound going because of the wind, but you can hear everyone start kind of chirping at each other as he slowly rides away, and no one really wants to get on the front to follow that, which this is exactly the kind of move that Gavin here from Maryland used last week to almost his perfect success. So I'm panicking a little here, but I do see that people start to try to cover that move. A solo rider there is kind of trying to bridge across, and then Andre up there in the green or gray starts to bridge as well, and then everyone kind of files in. And now I'm feeling really good coming into the final real corner here, sitting 6th, 7th wheel, 40 miles an hour. I know it's fast enough that we shouldn't get swarmed as long as it stays going this pace into the finish. I've talked about other people getting antsy all race, and this is definitely a place where I'm starting to get antsy. Last week I sent a flyer kind of from this place in the break and ended up winning from that. I know there's about a minute and a half to the finish, and I know someone else is thinking the exact same thing I was. And sure enough, here comes Chaz on my left with that late flyer, and I jump right to his wheel because I know I can't let that go. I know there might be indecision in the group, so I jump on his wheel. I think about maybe letting someone slot in here, but I'd rather lose to my legs giving out than lose to bad positioning. So I'm committed now. I'm on Chaz's wheel. We've got 450 meters to go. And at this point, the only thing I'm worried about is someone coming over the top fast enough to where they get a gap, can't get on the wheel, and you lose the race to that. So I'm looking back, and sure enough, someone goes, and let's just let it play out from here. That was one of the sprint finishes where it kind of goes to the right, and I'm still not super sure of should I have followed the curve the way I was following the curve, or should I take in the direct line? I don't really know. Let me know what you think. I know Andre, who almost got me at the line there, he ended up second by a couple of inches. He was able to come out of the wheel and go straight for the corner. So I don't know. Let me know. But I thought I'd also throw up the power and the data on screen here, just because I know I've liked to see that from other videos. And other than that, thanks for coming out to the video, and hope to see you again soon.